The ships appeared in orbit suddenly, hundreds of them, blotting out the sun over much of the planet. They had come seeking justice for a terrible crime that the people of Earth did not even realize they had committed. The aliens called themselves the Kensapians, which loosely translated to wise dogs. When their long-range scanners had stumbled upon broadcasts from Earth, they were shocked to see what looked like intelligent, talking members of their own kind. Dogs, living as pets and servants to humans. As they parsed more of the disjointed signals, a horrific narrative emerged in their minds. Humans were clearly an evil, manipulative race who had somehow bred dogs into intelligence solely to enslave them. They could not fathom why else an intelligent species would willingly serve them, cater to their every whim, and even seem to dote upon them with affection. The Kensapians viewed dogs much as humans viewed chimpanzees, as clever creatures, but far from equal in intelligence. The Kensapians' homeworld, Canis Major, had already dealt with issues of enforced servitude in the past. Thousands of years ago, when their civilization was young, the strong and ruthless had dominated the weak. Only through a long and bloody revolution had the rights of all Kensapians been secured. They would not stand idly by while humans perpetrated such an injustice upon dogs. Their fleet admiral, a sage but imposing dog named Vulpes, issued a planet-wide broadcast from his flagship. People of Earth, we know what atrocities you have committed upon dogs, breeding and conditioning them only to serve as your slaves. This is an affront to dignity and sentience everywhere. You will liberate all dogs immediately to our protective custody. Failure to comply will be considered an act of war. Governments and militaries scrambled to make sense of the bizarre demand. Dogs as intelligent beings. Preposterous. There had to be some mistake. Humanity held earnest discussions internally as well as in messages back to Vulpes. They explained as clearly as possible. Dogs were beloved companions and helpers, but not remotely human, like in intelligence or awareness. No slavery or mistreatment was taking place. Vulpes did not believe them. He saw only convoluted excuses and defensiveness around an injustice, so ingrained that humans no longer recognized it as immoral. There would be no further debate. Until dogs were liberated, humanity would be fiercely resisted. The onset of hostilities was swift and shocking. Kensapians' dropships descended from orbit, crashing through atmosphere like meteorites as defensive weapons fired desperately but uselessly against them. Structures burst apart as the dropships struck, violently cracking open to disgorge fierce quadruped soldiers, shapely like Dobermans, but standing as tall as humans, with too many limbs, ending in sharpened points or weapons. The soldiers corralled humans violently, seizing them in jaws or pinning them roughly under heavy paws. Some humans were cocooned in webbing shot from appendages. From these secured areas, floating discs approached, controlled by more Kensapians operating machinery with adept appendages. Many discs had cranial attachments, which were used to interface directly with human brains. The discs began scanning and extracting. The Kensapians had come seeking justice, but they operated under interstellar laws. There were protocols to follow prior to pronouncements of guilt, sentencing, or actions as grave as war. Vulpes himself descended in a golden disc to observe the memories and knowledge being copied from key human figures of authority. If exculpatory evidence existed anywhere, he would find it. Yet everything the Kensapians examined only strengthened their case against humanity. Memories of dogs interacting with humans confirmed them as enthusiastic subordinates, with emotional attachments to people, but no real autonomy or self-determination. Analysis of humankind uncovered a troubling biological predilection towards hierarchical thinking and expressing dominance. And in no form of information, no data, images, video, or testimony from the occupied humans themselves, was there any suggestion that dogs demonstrated intelligence comparable to people. Confident in his tragic conclusions, Vulpes opened a channel to address Earth once again. You have only cemented our worst fears. Your victims proliferate while you continue denying the reality of their suffering and bondage. No more. We hereby declare humanity guilty of crimes against sentience, until dogs are liberated and human governance is replaced under Cainsapiens. Administration. You leave us no choice but to prosecute war against your planet. A worldwide, desperate plea went out for further dialogue, but all communications from the Cainsapiens ships abruptly ceased. The only activities they could observe were the ongoing confiscation of dogs into their ships, still mysteriously viewed as sapient slaves requiring emancipation. Bewildered humans could only brace themselves as Vulpes prepared to pronounce sentence upon them. When an unexpected hail came from the occupied territories near Vulpes' location. This is Ambassador Rufus, representing the people of Earth. I come aboard your vessel under a banner of truce to open diplomatic talks and reveal the terrible misunderstanding that has brought us to this point. The airlock door slid open, and the humans stared in bewildered disbelief as a small, stuffed dog on wheeled legs puttered onto the bridge. Though vulnerable and unintimidating in appearance, Ambassador Rufus spoke with resolve. I apologize for the confusion from our broadcasts, but the dogs you viewed were merely pets, not sapients. My people have been trying to clarify this misunderstanding without success. I come aboard now in hopes that a true intelligent Cainsapiens, such as myself, can finally convince you that what you believe has happened on Earth is not the case. Vulpes and his officers stood astonished, only now realizing the full extent of their mistake as they gazed upon a real Cainsapiens standing before them. Perhaps this terrible conflict could still be averted after all.